what's going on here? Ryan Faulkner at TheBaseTriathlon.com. What we're doing today in this little video tutorial or educational video, whatever you want to call it, is we're going to go over IRONMAN Florida and my recommendations on the best places for lodging and where to stay for the race. Now, I've done the race 2 times. One time it was in Panama City Beach, and then 2018 when the hurricane hit and we went over to Haines City. So the Haines City one isn't really applicable, but if you're doing IRONMAN Florida, Panama City Beach, like usual, this is going to be good information for you to have when you're looking for lodging and what I would recommend as far as I'm coming with family. So we got kids, we got my wife. So kind of recommendations on my experience in 2017 and then 18, and then coming back for 2021. So my main thing is I always hit a race and I always want to look at the courses. Now, 2020 did happen, but they put it in a different spot. So right now, if you're looking at the maps, they may be a little bit outdated on where exactly they're going to happen. So you got the swim, bike, and the run, and it's a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to and ignore my spelling. I'm going to look at Panama City Beach because where I'll point out is where this race has typically happened in the past. So if you're looking in, Thomas Drive is the big main stretch here that I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for is this little section right here. This is the turnaround for the run. So you come up here, you turn around this little loop and come back down. So Thomas Drive is a big, huge, important part of this, like Sunbird Beach Resort and all of this, say Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach, everything. This is the main area where your transition is going to be at. There's a couple of different, you see it a little bit better here when you zoom in. So this is where your transition is going to be at. So there's a couple other condominiums and everything in here. So for 2021, my assumption is they're going to move this back to the original race location. So what I've done is I've gotten actually a condominium through VRBO, and I'm staying here kind of close by, like one of the condos that are right down the street. You can kind of see the outlines of different condo buildings, that type of thing. But mainly there's a convention center. So usually the transition's indoor in this convention center. During the pandemic, most of the transitions, they moved them outdoors. You're doing it at the racks. So we may be out at the racks here in the parking lot doing our transition outdoors. So if you need to make a full change or anything like that, they're going to have porta potties where you can kind of do that if you need to. But the swim start is from the beach right out in front. So everything's kind of nicely, conveniently placed in this little area. So you got your convention center, you got this parking lot. This is usually where Ironman Village is. There's this little tent area where the shop is going to be at for Ironman Village. You get your Ironman swag, and then all the vendors are going to be out here. Probably there's going to be very limited indoor activities just for the whole pandemic and safety protocols. But this is where the main action is going to be at. When we went in 2017, this was my first time doing this race, the run course comes out here on Thomas Drive, and then you kind of go back in here in, I can't remember if it was Sunset Avenue or not, but you come back in here in these little races and areas, and I think this is where we stayed before. We stayed off of South Lagoon Drive. So the run comes in here, and then you hit the park, and this is where you do your little run turnaround, and then you come back in, and you do 2 leaps of that. So with a family, we needed a place. And I had my aunt, my uncle, my mother, my wife, and 3 kids. So we needed a place big enough for everybody. And we picked this area because the run course is going right in front. So I wanted an opportunity. I can see them coming in, and see my family 4 times when we did the run. But unfortunately, what that caused is a little bit of problem because they'd have to cross the run course, and then they're going to have to go down Thomas Drive, which is where the run course kind of comes back on to do the turnaround. So parking over here was kind of a pain. It was just kind of a difficult situation for them to come back. They watched me do the swim start, but then they had to cross over and get out of this area because the bike starts out of Thomas Drive and you come out this way. So they kind of had to wait on traffic and they had to pay for some parking around here. And then they come back down and they hung out at the house until I came back on the run. And they saw me on the run. But when they wanted to catch me finish, there was so much traffic and so much difficulty getting back in there. They didn't, unfortunately, they made it like a few minutes too late. I saw them coming in, but they weren't able to see me across the finish line. So here's my recommendation. If you're looking for affordability, there's plenty of places along here, vrbo.com, airbnb.com. I use Priceline to look for hotels, and then I go to, you can watch my other videos as well, I go to the hotel-specific site to see if there's any deals like that. So that's my main ones, but what I would recommend is if there's plenty of condos, and there's some nice condominiums, there are some beachfront property, houses and stuff, you get a little bit more expensive. There's a little bit more down this way. So maybe look at something that's within walking distance, especially if you have a family. For 2021, we plan on my family just, being able to hang out at the beach, maybe see me do the swim start. And then when I'm out on the bike for 5, 6, whatever hours, they could just hang out on the beach, have a good time. And then when I'm out back out on a run course, they can come into the hotel, shower off, do whatever, and then see me on the run course, track me, and then keep coming out and seeing me. But they got a home base. They don't have to go very far. They don't have to drive anywhere. They can see me right there, and there's plenty of there's restaurants or other shops going on. They got access to the condo where they can go back and get food and all this other stuff and just hang out on the beach. So for them, it's kind of an easier situation. So that's where I kind of recommend starting, especially if you got a family involved, you got spectators, and your Sherpas. I would recommend staying pretty close to where transition is going to happen, right here on St. Thomas Drive. So between, you got South Thomas Drive and Thomas Drive. So between this Lagoon Drive and over here, this little Circle K or whatever, Front Beach Road. So if you can, there's plenty of places still on vrbo.com and airbnb.com. Make sure you're checking the cancellation dates just in the event something happens, so you can get your money back if you need to. Most of them will push up to, like a week or two before. So look at all these different places, and there should be plenty of places. I'm making this in June, and the race is in November, so there should be plenty of opportunities to go through and find a place to stay. And that's what I would recommend. It was kind of tough, like I said, kind of being over here away from everything. You had to come over. There's parking places and plenty of stuff for, check in and drop off and all that kind of stuff. But come race day, Thomas Drive becomes pretty crowded. So you probably want to do the best you can to be as close to transition, because luckily it's a one transition race. Everything happens around this area. So we are in condos right here, and it was a pretty nice condo, and it's not something you can just walk out the door to the beach, but you go down the elevator and then there's the beach. So that is my purpose for that, for my family, so they can be entertained while I'm doing the race. They can play on the beach, play in the water, do whatever, and then I'm out there suffering for 140.6 miles. So that's kind of my recommendations. Once you start getting out in this area, you might be able to find something that's a little bit more affordable. But for them, the logistics of coming in for check-in and drop-off and all the other things, there's parking lots way over here. So you can usually pay like $20 for 2 days of parking, and then they'll let you park and you can walk over there. But it's a little bit of a hike, and you definitely don't want to be walking around a bunch, before you do the race or something. So, especially if you've got a family, it just makes a lot more sense. And like I said, there's plenty of availability as far as condos and stuff. So there's so many little resorts and all kinds of other stuff going on. So, and these little houses, sometimes they've got some VRBOs. If you want to pay a little bit extra, these might be a little bit more affordable. But that's what I recommend if you're looking for a place to stay for IRONMAN Florida. You can go out, find probably plenty of affordable options out there. Like I said, in here, there's not many like hotels and stuff, but there's plenty of condos, vrbo.com, airbnb.com. And I'm sure these condos have their own little websites too and stuff for renting out condos to stay at. But that would be my recommendations, because once you can stay on the run course, but if you want to see your athletes finish or something like that, it becomes a little bit of a tall task to make sure you time that right and find parking. And then by the time you get to the finish line, make sure you're not completely worn out trying to cross paths of all the run course. So that's my recommendations. If you got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you as much as possible. If you got any recommendations, and put them in there too. I always like to go back and make sure that my videos and everything is most up to date, has the best information possible. So thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you later.